the word community is very toxic. Allow me to explain. So, when I first started out as an advocate for cures for childhood cancer back in 2013, I noticed how the demographic, at the time I didn't recognize it as a demographic, but the demographic, they were heavy on this word community to describe the demographic. We didn't call it a demographic then. Everybody wanted to refer to it as a community because they figured it was a more heartfelt, welcoming gesture to those whose children were newly diagnosed, and they wanted to welcome them into the community with open arms. So when I first started out, I mean, I didn't really think about it. I didn't know then what I know now about the meanings of these words and the contexts of which these words are used. But I went along with it, and I referred to it as a community. And then later on down the road, towards the end of my, I guess you call it a tenure as an advocate for childhood cancer, I started to see what they were actually talking about. Because the word community, when you take the word apart, you divide it, you chop it up. When you have a prefix and a suffix, and the prefix is come, as in come together, and that's the prefix. The suffix is unity, as in unite, come together and unite. When you put those two pieces of the word together, community, come together and unite. That's how I see it. That's a problem. That's a red flag. I saw it for what it is, and I said, well, there's got to be a better way to describe this particular group of people. We're not a community, because community will support you. They will be accepting of you, despite your flaws, despite anything else. They will accept you because you come from that same lifestyle. They should be accepting as a community, as you would think a community would. And when I started to analyze this from a safe distance, I took a step back and I started to see it for what it really and truly was. It's like, this is not a community. What are you talking about? And one of my dear friends, I'm not going to name her name here in this video, but she pointed out that it's not a community. Her son is a childhood cancer survivor. And she pointed out to me that it's not a community. And it made me think for a minute. I kind of chewed on that claim. And after she told me that, it's like, you know what? You're right. It's not a community. So then I had to think of a word that would actually describe the group of people. So demographic is probably a more appropriate word to use. The word community is toxic. The only reason that I can think of, and the only what the evidence shows, and the track record of the usage of the word community with childhood cancer in particular, using the word community only works when you are reaping the benefits of the group. Now, what benefit did I get from sharing my story with these individuals? Well, I introduced myself and my story, which I would only hope that my story was an inspiration to other people and their children who are going through similar situations. A lot of the connections I still have from 2013. It's been great. But I reintroduced my story as a guide for other children who are going through similar situations. Provided that I am so many years removed, I'm decades removed from my initial diagnosis and my battle, I figured it would be a way of giving back and participating in charities and getting involved with, like the radiothons and the charities and things like that. Actually getting involved, helping people financially, which I've done. I've done my fair share. No regrets, by the way, no regrets. But at the time, I didn't realize how harmful that the usage of the word community was in its context, describing the childhood cancer demographic, which that's the appropriate term to use. I started using the word in 2019, 2020, somewhere around there. I think it was just before the COVID pandemic had taken off. I started referring to it as a demographic. Tom Mitchell, I think, picked up on the word demographic, and he started using that and working that into his vocabulary. So there was one point that we could have otherwise agreed on had we not had a falling out. But demographic is a more appropriate, befitting word to use because it describes the people who are affected essentially by the same or similar thing. Childhood cancer, it's right in the title, childhood cancer, not teenage cancer, not adulthood cancer, childhood cancer. I am a childhood cancer survivor. I didn't have cancer as a teenager. I don't have cancer now. I was a toddler when I had cancer. I was 2 years old when I had cancer. Childhood cancer, I fall into that category. But I don't view it as a community. The word is toxic because of the behaviors that have been exhibited and demonstrated by the people within the demographic. It has turned into a dick measuring competition, as I have pointed out in my Daily Rant recording, my most recent. It's always about these people priding them, they praise themselves, they pride themselves on being advocates and activists. So much to the point that they don't care who they trample over, they don't care who they hurt, they don't care who they put down. They don't care who, it's a divide and conquer scenario. And it has become so bad within the demographic. There's a lot of infighting. I don't see it directly, but I know there is. And I'm not denying that I probably caused most of it. But it's a different story when you have survived something that other children are currently being affected by or have been affected by. It's another story when you are seeing it for what it is and have people getting pissed off at you and then try to tell you that, well, Jared, you can't say this and you can't say that. The fuck if I can't. 35 years as a survivor, I can say a lot about childhood cancer. Who are you to tell me what I can and can't say about it? Or certain individuals within this demographic of people. The whole idea of community is toxic to me because of the behavioral patterns that are associated with the toxicity of that word. Community doesn't mean shit if the people actually aren't going to come together and unite. You can't call it a community and then pick and choose your special people. There's certain cliques of people you hang with and others that you don't. That's not how a community works. That's why I find the word community to be toxic. It's a demographic. Whether you like people or not, it is a demographic, period. And a demographic is more befitting of a word because you don't necessarily have to help those people. Under the guise of community, or what community means that you come together and help each other. Demographic means, hey, we all have that one thing in common, irrespective of helping one another or even speaking to each other. We are in that same category, the same demographic. And the childhood cancer demographic, I wouldn't say now that we are a subjugated group of people, although once upon a time I did. I don't think we're subjugated, but we are a bit of a minority because although we have the St. Jude commercials and St. Baldrick's and the Children's Miracle Network and all these big time well-known names, Alex's Lemonade Stand, another one. We have all these big names, right? there's still no cure. And most people like to claim that there is when there's no evidence to, verify that their claim is accurate. I am of the opinion that there is no cure. Actually, I'm not of the opinion that there is no cure. Let me retract that statement. I'm of the opinion that I don't know if there's a cure because there's no evidence to demonstrate that there is. And because we don't have evidence to demonstrate that there isn't, I am actually of the opinion that I don't know either way. I'm not going to pretend that I have all the answers. As a childhood cancer survivor, I am still not going to say that there is or there is not a cure for cancer because I don't know. If you haven't noticed, I don't live in a laboratory. I don't have a laboratory in my home. I'm not studying cells and membranes and nucleus, type stuff. I'm not studying that kind of thing 24/7, night and day around the clock. I'm not a scientist. Okay? And truth be told, all these people on Facebook in the community, this is another reason why this word community is toxic, because all these people claiming that they're going to fight for their kids are in no way fighting for their children. They're just not. How are you fighting for someone else's kids? By posting a gold ribbon on Facebook? What does that do? What does that do? It virtue signals how wonderful of a person you are. It appeals to the demographic whom of which you share opinions with already. You're just reinforcing their ideas and their thoughts. Meanwhile, children are still sick. They remain sick. They remain dying. And that is the truth of the matter. That's it. This is why people don't like me now from the demographic. It's got nothing to do with gossip. It's got nothing to do with rumors. It's because I see through the bullshit. You people are not fighting to save children no more than I am or ever have. No one fights to save children by posting a gold ribbon on Facebook. No one saves children by running in ultra marathons. No one saves children by screaming into a bullhorn or attending CareFest. No one saves children by listening to themselves talk. That's not how it works. We're all aware that cancer plagues people of all ages. This is my camera. We know that cancer plagues people of all ages, not just children. We know this. We're aware. How much more awareness do you need? Awareness does not lead to cures. I am not convinced of that. There's no evidence anywhere that shows me that that awareness leads to cures. In fact, I was using the platitude when I was an advocate. Awareness leads to funding, yada, yada, yada. It's not true. There's no evidence to confirm that claim as true or accurate. The truth of the matter is people call it a community because it's a way for them to feel noble about a cause, much in the same way they post gold ribbons on Facebook. I'm not saying there's no hope for the future. I'm just telling you how it is. I call it like I see it. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you that, oh yeah, tomorrow looks promising and hey, they might find a cure tomorrow or there might be a new discovery tomorrow. I'm not here to claim that. I'm not here to give false hope and exaggerated promises. I'm not here to do that. And I certainly don't hate people. I don't hate Tom Mitchell. I don't hate anybody in the childhood cancer demographic. But it's time that these people woke up. When you know for a fact that you're not physically doing anything that is going to improve the child's situation health-wise, it's at that point that you're blowing smoke up people's ass. You're not doing anything that's going to cure the cancer. Helping people financially is great. And I'm not going to deny that. Tom Mitchell does it. I've done it. Lots of people do it. Fine, that's great. That's awesome. Because the financial side is bad. Anybody in this demographic can tell you that the financial side of childhood cancer is awful. It's detestable. There's no right way to take on that problem. The financial side of that is just terrible. But running an ultramarathons, posting gold ribbons, spewing the same platitudes that you're programmed to say over and over and over again, reinforcing the opinions of other like-minded individuals, gets you nowhere. That's why I backed out of advocacy, and it sure as hell is not saving lives. The word community is toxic. We need to drop it from the childhood cancer jargon. We need to start referring to it as what it really and truly is, which is a demographic. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, comment some of your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read what you have to write. Take care.